Our guests tonight are newly emerged from isolation on the Scottish borders. You might remember champion Doug Veitch as the maker of some very innovative hybrid music in the mid-1980s, bringing together African, American Cajun and Celtic styles. And Doug was also half of the partnership which discovered and brought us the Bundu Boys in the mid-1980s. Rice Kagona, of course, was the lead guitar player with the Bundus, and like Doug, he's been up there on the Scottish borders for a number of years now, not making any music, in fact, devoting his energies to working in a charity shop near Hoyk. But they've both decided now it's time to make some more music together, and I'm delighted to say they've decided to debut that with a live session for us. Rice Kagona, champion Doug Veitch.
Terera mwana wangu, terera mwana wangu, terera mwana wangu, terera mwana wangu we. Terera mwana wangu, terera mwana wangu, terera mwana wangu, terera mwana wangu we. Ndakarerwa Mungu wakaoma, ini baba vako ndakarerwa Mungu wakaoma. Ndaive ndisingaone nechingwa chine mazai, apo ndaimukira kuendawo kuchikoro. Ini baba vako ndakarerwa Mungu wakaoma, ini baba vako ndakarerwa Mungu wakaoma. Ndaive ndisingaone nechingwa chine mazai, apo ndaimukira kuendawo kuchikoro. Ini baba vako ndakarerwa Mungu wakaoma, ini baba vako ndakarerwa Mungu wakaoma. Mitunhu mirefu ndaifamba netsoka, kana shangu mugumbo ndaitomonera makavi. Ini baba vako ndakarerwa Mungu wakaoma, ini baba vako ndakarerwa Mungu wakaoma. Mitunhu mirefu ndaifamba netsoka, kana shangu mugumbo ndaitomonera makavi. Ini baba vako ndakarerwa Mungu wakaoma, ini baba vako ndakarerwa Mungu wakaoma. Ndaitamba Christmas nehembe dzine zvigamba, kana mpunga nenyama yehuku handaimbozviwana. Ini baba vako ndakarerwa Mungu wakaoma, ini baba vako ndakarerwa Mungu wakaoma. Ndaitamba Christmas nehembe dzine zvigamba, kana mpunga nenyama yehuku handaimbozviwana. Terera mwana wangu, terera mwana wangu, terera mwana wangu, terera mwana wangu we. Terera mwana wangu, terera mwana wangu, terera mwana wangu, terera mwana wangu we. ngwarira ngwarirawo mwana we nguva yakaoma inodzokazve. Naizvozvo ngwarirawo muzukuru nguva yakadai inodzokazve. Naizvozvo ngwarirawo mwana we nguva yakaoma inodzokazve. Naizvozvo ngwarirawo chizukuru nguva yakadai inodzokazve.
Well, that was beautiful. It's so nice to hear again the guitar playing that genuinely changed my life. That was Rice Kagona on the vocals and the electric guitar, accompanied by Doug Veitch on the second electric guitar and Paul Keane on the piano. The first piece there was called Unguava, Yakoma. Have I got that right, Rice?
Yes.
And that means the hardships of life.
The hardships of life, yeah.
And what message was in there? What were you saying?
Well, I'm talking to my son, or it can be a son or a daughter. You know, you're telling him history of what used to be before. Because, you see, these days, young kids are growing very well with everything. They can afford everything. We got everything in the house. Whereas the life we led before, it was very hard. You know, even going to school, we would walk 10 miles going to school. I think you've been in Africa. You've seen what
a time or two.
Yes.
Yeah.
People walk a long, long way going to school, holding their books in the armpit like that. You know, he doesn't know what he's going to eat. You know, you may seem to think life is always as good as this. We didn't have that kind of life.
Right. Well, I think
we suffered a lot.
I think we know about hardships once again in Zimbabwe, where you come from, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But let's just talk first about what you've been doing since the demise of the Bundu Boys, and it's been a tragic story. Many listeners will have no doubt read Robert Chalmers' piece in The Independent on Sunday back in March about what's happened to the Bundus since you broke up. I mean, it's terrible. 3 dead, 1 in jail. And one of them, Kenny, nobody really knows where he is, last seen driving a minicab in London. And Robert, when he found you, in order to write that story, he found you ironing second-hand clothes in a charity shop near Edinburgh. Right, how did you come to be there?
Well, although he writes as if it's a problem, ironing, I really did volunteer to do that thing. It's not like I was forced or I'm desperate doing it.
Yes.
I like doing it. That's a charity shop. And remembering my friend Sheki, who also passed through the same disease,
AIDS, yeah.
You know, we have to give something back. You know, it's not just good to lie down there, spend the whole day doing nothing.
Yes.
Then I just thought, well, there are shops around. Why can't I just give my time to this thing? And also, I'm also helping those cancer people who have got cancer. That's all about it. Though the way it is written in the paper is like I'm desperate, or I have to do that because I'm so desperate. It's not that.
Right. I think, is that your mobile phone going off in the background? You just want to switch it off for a minute. Well, your public spiritedness, your altruism, your willingness to work in that charity shop is admirable, Rice. But when all's said and done, you are one of the world's great guitarists, not just one of the great guitarists of Africa. And it does seem extraordinary that you are, living and working under those circumstances. What made you stay in Scotland? Why didn't you go back to Zimbabwe and perhaps start a new band? With your reputation, I'm sure you could have done that.
Yeah, thanks very much for honouring me as one of the best guitarists
Well, I
around.
sincerely believe that. And I'm not exaggerating when I said it was your guitar playing that changed my life. It was when the first Bundus record came out in this country that I thought, actually, the Africans have got it. Anyway, go on, tell us.
Surely, for me to end up in Scotland, I was in London, and since my boys and we all went to Scotland in the purpose of recordings. Things didn't go very well through the recordings. It took a long time, and the boys got frustrated, and some end up coming back to London again. So I just took it for granted that it has to be me, because I'm the founder and band leader of this group. For this thing to work, I have to be there full time. Then I just gave all my input to continue recording while these other guys came back to London to do whatever they were doing.
And have you got all the family there now, or are some of them still in Zimbabwe?
No, my family is still in Zimbabwe.
And how are they doing?
Well, we're just reading papers and seeing TV's programs about Zimbabwe. Things are not really going on very well down there. It's like the more poor you are, the poorer you are going to get. Things are not even improving.
Right.
But it has been a hard time for us to go back there because, one, there's no petrol. You find there's no petrol. Transport is a problem. You can't tour. You can't do anything.
There's no food either.
There's no food either. So being here, it's like a privilege. At least you throw up 25 pounds there. It's much better than just being nothing. All of us sitting there and watching each other dying.
Yeah. Have you no desire to go back?
I really want to go back. Home is home. Zimbabwe is home. But I can't just go there and sit and see all these tragedies happening in my eyes. Mm. I need to go there with a transformation, hoping to transform things, not as they are. We are hoping if things can change and we help out to transform things with the experience we have had all over wherever we have been here in Europe. We need to educate people there and, try to make our life better.
It's just heartbreaking, isn't it? I mean, think back to the times in the late 80s when I first came down and I was hanging out with you guys in Harare, in Highfield Township, and travelling the country with you. And one thing, the place was going forward. You felt a real sense of optimism that this country was like a beacon to the rest of the continent. What do you think now, Rice, when you look at it? And
everything now seems to be going on very well. Every one of us very happy. People sang. Even us bands, we had a lot to write, we had a lot to play music, we had lots of places to go and entertain our people. But things just started going. I think politics really have killed the whole country. The politics in Africa is so terrible.
You've got a song about the state of Zimbabwe at the moment, haven't you? Tanzwa Nakultavabura.
Tanzwa Nakultavabura.
What's he saying in this?
We have had enough, and I don't know when it's going to end. Every time it's like you're hoping for the best, then there's something else comes and just drops to the people and the people start suffering again. I don't know when we are going to really come up with a better solution. I don't know.
And this is a solo performance by Rice Kagona.
Tanzwa nekutambura, Tanzwa nekushupika, Tanzwa nekutambura, Tanzwa nekutambura. Ndisu takavasarudza kuti vatungamirire, tichirwisa vapambi vevhu vaiti chanyirira. Rusununguko rwauya, vakuru vaye vopanduka, vave kugona pachavo vega, upfumi hwababa. Tanzwa nekutambura, Tanzwa nekushupika, Tanzwa nekutambura, Tanzwa nekushupika. Mashoko avo anotapira, uku achitipesanisa, kurwisanisa povo, ivo vachidya vachiguta. Vanoba vasingabatwe, vasingabvise mitero, vanorapwa kunze kwenyika, isi tichiora neurwere. Tanzwa nekutambura, Tanzwa nekushupika, Tanzwa nekutambura, Tanzwa nekushupika. Kusvika riniko tichingobhorongwa iwe, kusvika riniko, kusvika riniko tichingokurungwa iwe, kusvika riniko, kusvika riniko tichingorwisaniswa, kusvika riniko, kusvika riniko tichingobhorongwa iwe, kusvika riniko, kusvika riniko tichingokurungwa iwe, kusvika riniko, kusvika riniko tichingorwisaniswa, kusvika riniko. Tanzwa nekutambura, Tanzwa nekushupika, Tanzwa nekutambura, Tanzwa nekushupika. Zvavakapinduka kuvenyoka, totodimbura musoro, tajaira kutoonesa pfumbu dzichibva nemuguru. Muguru macho isai mvura, mwena yose motsindira. Nyoka dzationesa pfumbu, nyika ino yenyangara. Tanzwa nekutambura, Tanzwa nekushupika, Tanzwa nekutambura, Tanzwa nekushupika. Kusvika riniko tichingobhorongwa iwe, kusvika riniko, kusvika riniko tichingokurungwa iwe, kusvika riniko, kusvika riniko tichingorwisaniswa, kusvika riniko. Tanzwa nekutambura, Tanzwa nekushupika, Tanzwa nekutambura, Tanzwa nekushupika.
Rice Kagona, live here on BBC Radio 3, and of course many of you will know Rice from a previous life when he was lead guitarist, singer and songwriter with the Bundu Boys. Let's bring your partner Doug Veitch in at this point, Rice, because you've been living up there in Scotland, not far from Doug. Doug, the two of you have got together again. Of course, you were one of the people who originally championed the Bundu Boys in this country. So is this a permanent outfit that you've got together now with Rice?
I don't know. We're not really looking at it long term. We just met up again after a long, long time. As you know, I left London and had nothing really to do with the music for a long, long time. But, you know, there was always a sort of... If I had ever wanted to do something again, it would always have been I would love to have done something with any of the band. And I met Rise up again in probably not the most fortunate of circumstances. But it was circumstances, I suppose, lucky for me, because it gave me the opportunity to suggest things, and we met up a few times. Rise was actually working on helping me doing a house that we were building. And such like.
Do you have a name for it yet, or is it just Rice Kagona?
Well, we had this name, and we've got people from sort of different sources. We've come up with a sort of, I suppose, DJ Clash dancehall style thing with Culture Clash, which was Rice Kagona versus Doug Veitch, but I think there's only one winner. It's a unanimous decision to Rise so far.
Rice, I mentioned earlier on that many of the listeners will have read that piece by Robert Chalmers in the Independent on Sunday back in March, and Robert went on a trail, if you like, in search of what happened to the Bundu Boys' money and why you never really made any money, even though you were very successful. Since that piece appeared, has any money come your way?
Nothing. And it's just like that piece of story just came and died off. We don't know what was behind it anyway, because I thought they are trying to dig out what's really happened.
Yes, he was, yeah.
Yeah, but then there was no follow-up, and we didn't know why he did it or what was the purpose of doing it.
Well, the reason he did it is he found Biggie's widow, Ratidzai, cleaning public toilets in Harare, didn't he?
But then, what's the outcome of it?
Yes,
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
He just said something in paper and then died like that.
Yes.
And if it was like trying to help whoever the family is there, what is it happening? What's happening?
Well, I think that was his intention, you know, to try and track down the money and perhaps get it to some of those people who deserve it and need it.
I think what Robert found is that tracks have been very well covered, let's say, sort of, to put it discreetly.
Well, it may amount to little more than crumbs, Rice, but if you and Doug and Paul see our Mr. Chambers on the way out, he'll make sure you get a small BBC cheque for this session. And thank you very much for coming in and doing it, all three of you. It's been a delight to see you again. And please play us out with a final song. What are you going to do?
Wafungeku.
And what's it mean?
What's in your mind?
Okay. Thank you very much.
sepanyika kusikana wafungeku wagaye nai mundiwa wafungeku wagaye nai mundiwa sanuoneka zose sepanyika rudo rwedu rokukura rukakunda zvedzo zose sepanyika kusikana wafungeiko wagaye nai mundiwa
Well, nice to have them back. Rice Kagona and champion Doug Veitch doing a live set for us here in the studio. And that final one from them there was called Wafungeku.